customer lifecycle from Raymond Gibbons. Thank you very much.
I'm Raymond Gibbons from BMS Accountants, and before we get into the presentation, I'd just like to give you a little bit of information about BMS Accountants. Founded in 2009, we've over 140 active clients, and we provide outsourced bookkeeping and payroll services along with the preparation of company accounts for SMEs throughout Leinster. And we pride ourselves in offering an excellent customer service. Now, the customer life cycle, well, the next slide is going to give you what would be the 5 stages you'd find if you Googled or opened a book on the customer life cycle. But I wanted to talk about our experience pre-COVID to now and how we managed those customers and how we looked after the customers and gained new customers and the transformation on our business. So if you're old-fashioned like me, you open a textbook and you probably get these stages: awareness, getting your message out to potential customers; acquisition, turning potential customers into leads by giving them information about your services; conversion, leads becoming customers; retention, keeping your customers happy; and loyalty, high value clients providing referrals. And we'll talk more about that later on. The old BMS approach, it was somewhat random. We did a bit of networking, word of mouth. We actually invested heavily in an advertising campaign with News Talk, and we never really got the return on our investment there. It was a bit hit and miss. We were picking up clients along the way, and we had a bit of growth in turnover. We had a mixed bag of clients, but they were mainly low value, and we had an over dependency on 3 or 4 high value clients. Losing one of those would have sent shockwaves through the business. Losing 2, and we would have been in a bit of difficulty perhaps. No real strategy, no proper planning, but still we were getting somewhat results. So a little bit like the girl in Polk Salad Annie, we did all right. And that's an Elvis reference for those of you who are wondering. It's a great song. We had results, not all good. We saw in turnover increasing annually. You think top line, that's very good. New clients were coming on board. Again, this sounds very good, but costs were also increasing annually. And the reason for that was the profile of the client. They were very labor intensive. So what would happen was we were bringing on new clients, and to ensure we met the tax deadlines or the company accounts deadlines, we'd have to recruit part-time staff around August, September, October. So any increase in turnover was being offset by the increased costs that we had to take on board. We were doing a lot of extra work, not being rewarded on the bottom line, and certainly not seen it in the cash flow. And looking at it, it was clear we had a lack of focus on the quality of client that we were bringing into the practice. It was time for a rethink. But then, like all SME business owners, finding the time to take the time for a rethink is very difficult. And then COVID happened. And something that we weren't expecting for a lot of business owners, it meant we could press the pause button, rethink and reconsider how we'd like our business to be. And we were able to reset and go again and start planning. I started an internal review back then on what we did well. We looked at what systems we could improve, the quality of the services we were providing. So in other words, how manual were we? Were there rooms for improvement? What software was out there? What hardware we needed? We looked at the time it was taking to prepare accounts for clients. So where we thought we were charging a good fee, but taking too long on a particular client and losing margin. So we started conducting an internal review that we still do to this day. We reviewed our customer base. How long were they with us? The sector they operated in, and services we provided. We looked at the current fees and profitability of those clients, and then we looked at the future profitability of those clients. What would it look like in 4 or 5 years if we still had the same customer base? We also started engaging with customers. We invited criticism. We asked clients what we did well and why they stayed loyal. We asked clients what improvements would they like to see. Now, this came back with a mixed results. They said we were offering a fantastic service. There was a lot of things they were doing well. We were doing well, very professional, very polite accountancy practice, all those good things. But they had one concern, or one overriding concern, and that was their over dependency on me. So if I had to take some enforced leave from the practice or step away, would they get the same level of service from the staff that I had here? And that was something we had to look at changing. And the real issue was that the clients didn't really know the staff that well. So we asked clients also what they thought of our online presence, because we were doing a total transformation of our business. We were going to redefine our approach to how we managed our existing customers, and also how we were going to find new customers and what those new customers would look like. So out of this engagement with the clients, we set our core values. We were reliable, friendly, and offering a very professional service. We were responsive to our clients' needs, flexible, and committed to their success. So these were all positives that we took out of it. Started working on developing a plan. Now, like any plan, you have to set a budget and you have to ring fence money for the project. There's no point in having a good plan and then not having the finances to support it. We were going to invest in new systems, new hardware, new staff if necessary. We were going to look at training up staff. And we were looking at changing a lot within the practice to get us to where we wanted to be in the next 4 or 5 years. And remember, COVID was coming in because so a lot of this was we were taking big gambles and big chances because nobody was sure what the future was. We were looking at redefining staff roles. So in the past, all our staff would have been hired on as bookkeepers and payroll officers. The title change was significant. They're now account managers and they manage client accounts day to day, week to week, month to month. And this was an important transformation in our business. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. We also involved clients in developing our marketing campaign. We did a video campaign and revamped our website, and we actually used Greco Studios. Many thanks again, Graham O'Cahy. And we asked a number of our clients, would they get involved in the video campaign? We weren't going to use actors. Every one of the clients stepped up and offered their time, and they gave a valuable time to us. They came down to the studios and helped us shoot these videos that you can now see on our website and on our social media campaigns. They offered testimonials even before we were asking for them. And one thing again here is referrals. And I know this is something Alec has touched on in the past and we've spoken about. If you're doing a fantastic service for clients and particularly high profile clients, but any client for that matter, ask for referrals. Ask them for a referral. They'll only refer to you clients that they believe will be a good fit for your business, and they'll be referring you and speaking very highly of you. So your foot's in the door there. So that is a source of income that or potential income for a lot of businesses. Speak to your existing clients and get referrals. We looked at identifying our ideal customer. We offered a range of services back then. It could be that a sole trader wanted to convert to a limited company, and we would do that job for them. But we decided that weren't we weren't providing an effective and efficient service by doing things like that. We were going to focus on bookkeeping, payroll, and company accounts, and we were going to outsource or recommend others to do jobs that we weren't experienced in. When we looked at a prospect, we were looking at the size and the requirements of the prospect. So we've got a sliding scale for our clients, if you like, or for potential clients, and it's scored from 1 to 5. So if they want all three services, bookkeeping, payroll, company accounts, they may be a 3.5, a 4 on the scale, and as in being a good fit for our practice. If they have 10, 15, 20, 25 employees, that brings them up further on the scale to maybe a 4.5 or a 5. So we look at this and say, well, what are they? Is this client going to be looking for the services that we're providing? And then are we going to get the fee from them? We look at the sector they're operating in. So this month, for example, we're going to be focusing on our advertising campaign. We're going to be looking at garden centres and nurseries. And later on in the year, we'll focus on the hospitality sector. And later on in the year, we'll be looking at construction, for example. And we focus our advertising in those areas at a particular time. Location. The location of the clients was critical. When I set this practice up, I set it up in Navan, County Meath, because the offices and the rates were cheaper. And that's just the way it was. The M50, or sorry, the motorway was beside me here, which led me directly into the M50 within half an hour. And I thought, I'm going to commute in and out to Dublin. I'm going to get connections in Dublin and build my practice in Dublin with Dublin-based clients. I joined the Dublin Chamber of Commerce and I was in there for a number of years. It's where I actually met Alec and a few others. But two things out of that. I was spending so much time on the road that when I got back to my office, I was having to make up that time by working extremely long hours in the practice. So work-life balance wasn't great. I also found that regardless, it was very hard to explain to a Dublin-based client that you're 35, 40 minutes out in Navan on an empty motorway as it was then. They'd rather spend an hour and a half traveling across the city to meet their accountant, and that's their prerogative. So what I'm saying is we didn't get the clients that we were looking for in Dublin. And then we were having a team meeting here in my office, and we were discussing this, and we looked out our window and we started naming the businesses along this high street where we are and how many of those businesses we had actually engaged with. And there were very few. And that was the light bulb moment for us. We were going to start focusing on County Meath and Navan, and we were going to start getting noticed and getting our message out there to potential clients in this area. And that's how that was one of the key things in transforming our business. As part of that 5-step process for your customer life cycle, awareness and reach, you might remember, was one of those. Or as I said, be seen. We needed to get our message out there. who we are, what we did, and why you should choose BMS accountants. One of the things that we did, which was a game changer, we stopped again doing jobs in-house that we weren't efficient at doing. So we had managed all our advertising, all our social media. We hired a local lady in Trim here in County Meath who manages all of our online marketing, and it's been a game changer. We're noticed. We have a lot of people following us. When we go to events here in the county, people know who we are and what we do. We network continuously. I host and chair County Meath Chamber events on a monthly basis, and I actually started this with County Meath Chamber back in COVID. It was something similar to vBON, where we had an online networking event on a bi-weekly basis as it was then. Once the restrictions got lifted, we started having face-to-face meetings, and we have monthly meetings, and we go outdoors, and we have great numbers at it, and Kellyanne will be there from time to time, and others. vBON, very important to us because it keeps us focused and aware of changes in the environment and lots of great training, such as what Chris was giving, the information that Chris is giving today. These are things that are invaluable to businesses. We advertise at and sponsor local events and volunteers. Now, some of you who know me will know that two of my great passions are the GAA and the few words of Gaeilge that I do know. Another passion of mine, as you might have got from earlier on the slide, is Elvis. I'm a huge fan. But the point here is that we got involved at local areas. If you were in pitches such as in Navan here, in Ballivor, in Kildalkey, in Atboy, you'll find pitch side advertising that we do. If there's a local event on that we can attend, we turn up and we'll help sponsor it. We'll have our pop-ups there, we'll have our staff there, and we'll get to know people. And this does have an impact on how you're recognized in your local area. And sometimes you don't need to go as far afield for your clients as you think you might have to. Acquisition aspect, but what BMS could do for you as a business. So when we're looking at turning potential customers into leads, or turning prospects into leads, we identify their pain points through having meetings with them. We call it a discovery meeting. So when I take on a new client, and I'm sure Rory would probably echo some of these, that you ask any new client, why are you leaving your existing accountant? You tend to get these type of answers that they're dealing with a different person every time they phone their accountants. Well, we tick that box because every client is given an account manager who will manage their affairs on a day-to-day basis. Mistakes they feel might be hidden or not or understated. Now, I don't necessarily believe that because what happens is that could be a lack of engagement with the client. And, it might be you don't see the client till the end of the year, that you're having this discussion about things that are in their accounts that they were hoping might have been picked up, but they hadn't given you the information on time. But that's one of the reasons. No clear understanding of accounts or business performance. Again, we tick that box because even for our smallest clients, if we do VAT returns on a bi-monthly basis, we just, as a matter of course, give over some critical information to the client. We compare their year-to-date turnover to the previous period. We would give them details on their overheads and compare that and highlight perhaps increases or decreases in overheads that might just highlight a potential issue in the information we're getting. Jargon, we don't use overcomplicated words. We know we're dealing with clients who just want straight talking. Missed deadlines, they're another issue that clients would have or new clients might have. And that can be for a number of reasons. That could be, again, because if you want us to hit a deadline, you have to give us the information on time. So if we're not getting the information in, either we're filing incorrect returns or the deadline's going to be late. And then poor customer experience is another reason why they would be looking to change accountants. And finally, price. And I say finally because your price is the price is the price. If a client is coming to you based on price, they will leave you based on price. So while price is important, it's important that you price for the job correctly. Conversion and onboarding, another aspect of the customer life cycle, and welcoming new customers. As I said to you, we address pain points in our discovery meetings with the clients. We let the client know what we expect from them. That's really important. So if we're saying to you, we can do a good job for you here, we can get your payroll done in time, we can get your VAT returns done, we can give you management accounts, we can give you the support you want as a business owner. Well, then you have to give us certain information in return. You have to make sure you're giving us that information complete, and you have to give it to us on a regular basis so that we're not going to be looking to turn around information for you in a couple of days when we know really we need a couple of weeks to make sure that it's correct. We appoint all clients an account manager, and I want to just mention this in my own perspective, if you don't mind, for a moment. When we had this criticism from clients about their over dependency on me, I found this a huge change personally because my phone would not stop ringing back then. I'd be on the phone all the time to clients with minute queries as well as some more strategic or larger queries. When we appointed the staff as account managers, it meant all of the queries were literally going through their account managers, which is what we wanted. But of course, this was a change for me because I go, I'm not having any contact with my clients the way I was. Is everything okay? I had to learn to trust my staff. I had to learn to trust their processes and trust that what we were doing was correct. And eventually, I could see the light because this made freed up my time to work on more strategic elements for my own business, like getting those more high profile clients, like being able to deal with my existing clients on more strategic levels. So it really was, again, another game changer. We arrange training on all our systems free of charge for our clients. So when a new client comes on board, we're asking them to adopt our systems. We invite them in, we hold a meet the team or an account manager meeting where they'll come in and meet their account manager for an hour or two, where they'll be taken through the systems and how to use them and any support they need going forward, they'll be given. We don't charge for that. If we have larger clients, we'll actually get in the cars and go out and meet the clients at their place of work so that we can meet their key staff. And again, putting faces to the names is very important. We achieve small wins early, so a seamless setup is important, and we address some pain points. So in our discovery meetings, we might have found that the client had an issue with personal tax return or an issue with some unclaimed VAT or something like that. We address it quickly. So and we let the client know. So we're seen to be proactive and we're seeing that we were listening to our clients. And we keep in regular contact with the clients. Regular contact is absolutely critical, not just with the new clients, but also with the existing and older clients that we have. So one of the things I've said before here is that on a Friday, I pick up the phone to two or three clients, depends how long I'm on the phone to them. And I just pick up the phone. It might be that I know the client's going on holidays and I can say, look, while you're away, if something crops up and you need us to look after it, pop us an email, go away and enjoy your holiday. It might be that I was driving through Trim and I see that one of my clients, he has a new window display because they've got their spring sale or whatever the case may be. I'll ring up and say that I noticed that. And how's it going? Are we getting rid of that slow moving stock that we always give out about when we do the year end accounts? So those little phone calls go a long way to showing your clients that you're more than just an accountant sitting behind a desk and seeing him on a couple of times a year. We do ask, are we meeting expectations? And if not, why not? And if there's something that we can do to improve our services. It's really important to let your clients know what you've achieved or done for them since they've come on board and for those existing clients so that things don't go stale. It's nice to be proactive and people appreciate it. And it's not about being, oh, how great am I? It's really just letting your client know that you are doing a good job. Deliver on your promises and if not, explain to the customer why. Hold your hands up to mistakes early. Return phone calls. I don't mean return every phone call straight away, but certainly our policy here would be to return a client's phone call within 24 hours. And if it's urgent, we'll return it the same day. Give a little bit more than expected. And that's really important to us. So going back to my thing about the VAT returns for small clients, they just expect you to file the VAT returns when they go to an accountant's practice. But we don't. We give a little bit more. We give them back a profitability report or draft statement on their turnover or on their cost for the last couple of months, just to give them something a little bit extra and to maybe highlight a potential issue in their accounts. Don't charge for low value items and risk irritating high value clients. I put this in at the last minute actually, and the reason why I did that was a lot of you as employers, you've heard about auto enrollment and having to enroll your clients, your payroll clients, for the 1st of January. Well, we had a team meeting back in November, and we knew that a lot of accountants rather, were charging for a simple three-step process to enroll their clients. We did ask clients to manage this process themselves, but we also took the view that if clients needed a hand, we were going to be there to help them. As one of my staff turned around here and said, we're not Ryanair. We don't charge for every bag on the plane. Annual reviews. We assess our clients annually. Did we deliver on our promises? Did the client deliver on their promises? Were there any unexpected issues that should have been highlighted? Are we a good fit for each other? And are we making the expected margin? All of these are critically important. And we assess these, regardless of the size of the client, we'll ask those questions. Unfortunately, sometimes things just don't work out and you have to disengage. We try not to burn the bridges with clients because, after all, it is unfortunate that these things happen, but it might be that you're no longer a good fit for each other. We talk to the client and explain the reason for disengagement. We issue a letter of disengagement outlining what has been completed and what needs to be completed by any new accountant. And ultimately, you learn from it and move on. Because we know as accountants that you could be doing a fantastic job for a client and really putting a lot of effort in. And their head gets turned by another accountancy practice and they move on. And that's just the way it goes. So equally, you should be looking at your own client base and saying, are they delivering for your practice? Because at the end of the day, this is your business. We're SME business owners and we're here also to make a little bit of money and make a bit of a living for ourselves also. Has it worked? It's been a transformation in our business, how we deal with our clients. The results don't lie. Our customer profile has changed completely. That over dependency, and I can remember when you might lose a key client and you're wondering, where am I going to find the clients to pick up the slack now to actually to get me over this hurdle because I've lost a critical client. I'm delighted to say we don't have that issue anymore. We don't want to lose any clients. We don't want to lose our high profile clients, but it's not as critical as it once was because of the changes we've made. The improvements in our systems and our own individual performances, it's chalk and cheese. We've seen increased profitability, we've seen increased cash flow, and it really has it has worked better than what we thought. And last year was the best year that we actually had in the practice, and it was all down to teamwork and how we do things now. So, Shinawil, Gurmila Mahagiv, is Misha Raymond Gibbons. Thank you very much.